Hi guys, welcome back to the podcast. My name is Sarah, and today we have my besties JV and Eimi here. Woo! Just before we start off, I would like to say a big thank you to the College of Law for sponsoring this podcast. Yay! So,
please sponsor us.
Oh, wow, we got fireworks. How have you guys been?
Yeah, we've been pretty good. Me and my flatmates have been playing a lot of Marvel Rivals.
Yeah. Let's go.
We've been going to Respawn every night.
How much does it cost?
It's like $4 after 8 p.m. So
Oh, really? For
really cheap.
unlimited time?
No, for 1 hour.
Oh, okay.
But it's cheap.
That's pretty
For
cheap.
someone who doesn't have a PC.
Yeah.
I'm going for the first time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
guys, pull up to Respawn.
After 8 p.m. every day, they'll be here.
ALSA exec will be there.
Yeah. Everyone pull up to see us play.
Okay, Amy, how about you?
Yeah, have you been?
Contribute.
Girl, I feel like I haven't done much. Like, our flat hasn't done anything, so no gaming. I've been to their flat and I played Fortnite for the first. Why is everyone thinking about gaming right now? But
Everyone's in their gaming era.
yeah, I think that's really it.
Yeah? Did you guys go back home during...
True.
Yeah, we did. We did go home.
So, okay, JV, where are you from?
Oh, guys, this might come as a shocker. And, like, hear me out. But I'm from Gore.
I'm from West Melton, which is in Christchurch, but it's not Christchurch Central. So
Yeah, so I did I'm from Tauranga, and I did a quick research on population. So Gore, it says the Gore district has a resident population of 13,200.
Yeah.
And then the urban population is 8,290. West Melton has a population of 2,710. And it says that's an increase of 6.7% from the previous year. And this was from 2024.
That was more bigger than...
West Melton definitely has the least out of the three of us, because Tauranga has a population of 162,800. So my town is the biggest. But I think in terms of when we say small towns in New Zealand, I think comparing to Auckland, that has a population of 1.5 to 1.8 million, I think considering that we're in the 100,000s, 10,000s and thousands, we're from relatively small towns. And that's today's topic. We're going to be talking about niche experiences that you can only get from small towns as Asian people. So, do you want to start us off with just what Gore's like, what West Melton's like?
Okay, if you guys, like, have been to Gore, don't come back again. There's literally nothing there for Asian people. Oh, farming. Because, like, that's the reason why we live there, because my family's, like, real big onto farming. Like, my uncle's into farming, my dad is in farming. And, like, in a way, like, yeah, like, that's, like, the stereotype for Filipinos over there, like, that we're all farmers.
Is there a lot of farmers in the Philippines? Is that why they come?
No, not a lot.
They
Like,
just convert to becoming farmers when
yeah,
they get to
because
Gore?
it's, like, quite good money, like,
Yeah.
farming down south.
Yeah.
And, like, usually, like, other Filipinos will come here through, like, the recommendation of someone who's already here.
Oh, yeah?
Like, they recommend them working in a dairy farm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because that's how my dad got into the industry.
So they kind of plan that they're going to get to farming when they come to New Zealand? And
Yeah,
then,
yeah. Like, it's like they never experienced farming in the Philippines, but they come over here and then do farming.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay, what about you, Amy?
Yeah, Amy.
Well, the only reason why I live in West Melton is because my grandparents are from there, because I'm half white, but
Surprise.
Our Asian queen, guys.
Yeah.
But we were supposed to go into somewhere like actually populous in Christchurch, but then we were like, no, like, let's just stay in West Melton. And then the only reason why you'd ever go there, even if you were from Christchurch, is like if you're going skiing to Mount Hart and there's like a straight road there and it's the only time you ever like see that area.
So it's a stop-by town.
Yeah, some people have heard of it only because of that, but no one really knows.
So your grandparents are from there? Like they were...
No, like they were from like a more central area, but I don't know why they moved. I don't know why they moved. Like why West Melton? But I think they wanted like a lifestyle block.
Oh yeah.
I think.
So is West Melton also farm?
Oh yeah. It's
okay.
all like mainly sheep, but it's all flat. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Christchurch is known to be quite flat as a region.
Yeah.
It's not like Wellington. Tauranga is a mix. There's definitely a lot of farming work in the rural Tauranga. Like my friend, she isn't technically in Tauranga, but she's located close to Tauranga. And they are a big dairy farming family. But also we have, because the mount and the port, there's a lot of port work, so there's a lot of people that work in the ports with the containers and all the management that goes along in the ports. But in terms of main reason why you would be in Tauranga, it would be for tourism, I think.
What is there? I've never heard of Tauranga.
Yeah, Tauranga is just known for Mount Maunganui because we don't know about this until my friend and I searched it up in year 13 because we were so bored, and it was like, the best beach in New Zealand is Mount Maunganui. And we were like, what? Because we take it so for granted. We're just, because it's the beach that's located 20 minutes from us. And then we go there when we're bored or just for like walking around the mount, stuff like that. So we're like, oh, the mount. But then everyone else is coming to Tauranga specifically over the summer to be there, which is kind of insane.
Yeah.
Does Christchurch have beaches? Is it?
There's like some on like, because where I'm from is like the real left side of Christchurch, but like on the right there's like a little bit, but like it's not good. It's all rocks.
Is West Melton
everything
on the west side of Christchurch? Is it what's called West Melton?
What's west?
West
Yeah,
is this
yeah.
way.
It's in the west.
Oh, okay. It's actually in the north, but it's just called West Melton. Were you, because you weren't born in Gore,
No,
right?
I was not.
You were born, where were you born?
I was born in Silay in the Philippines.
Yeah.
And then I moved here when I was around like 8 or 9 fully. Because my dad came here 2 years prior to see how he liked farming.
So he came by himself?
Yeah, he came by himself. He was like with his mate. And they lived in a flat together.
Wow.
And they shared one car. Yeah, but after 2 years, like, I think my uncle sponsored me and my mom and my sister to come over.
Yeah.
And we've just been living in Gore since.
So how long have you been in Gore?
My entirety of my stay here, like, this would be my 16th year in New Zealand.
16th.
So it'd be like, what, like, because 3 years in Wellington.
Yeah.
So the rest of that would be spent in Gore. So, like...
So how old were you when you went to Gore?
Like... 8?
That does not. Wait.
I don't think the maths.
Oh, I'm bad at math. Sorry, guys.
You spent 16 years. You're
16-ish. This would be my 16th, I think. Is it not?
Girl, if you moved when you
20.
were 8 and you've
12
been here
years.
for 16 years, you'd be 24.
Oh, guys. Oblong.
Disclaimer: oblong is the cut word for today. So if you
But
hear
don't
that,
I apologize on my own. Bad math, guys. Math is not my strong point. This
So
is why we all have all degrees.
so you were here since 8-ish.
Yeah, I was here since 8, so like quite a
So you've been here for like 12-ish years.
hefty amount of
Yeah.
time in Gore.
Yeah. Okay, what about you, Eimi? Where were you born and how long did you spend in West Melton?
I was
Is it West Melton or West Melton?
Melton.
Melton or Mountain?
It's like Melton.
Oh, Mel.
Yeah,
Melton
Melton.
or like do you say the T?
Not Mountain. Mountain.
Mountain, but do you say the T or no T? Because I feel like you don't say the T.
Well,
I
I
see,
feel
I
that's
see.
just like
Melon.
accent.
Well,
West Melton.
West Melon.
West
Yeah.
Melon. She's from West Melon.
I was born in Sapporo, Japan, and then
Not the beer.
She was born in
the
beer.
beer. And then I moved to West Melton when I was 5. I don't know why, like the real reasons. Yeah, but like I don't know why we ended up moving like at all.
Okay.
But I've been like I lived in West Melbourne for like since then, so that's 16 years almost.
So you've been there for 16 years.
16? No. 15.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Disclaimer, don't hold us against our math. If our calculations are wrong, they will be.
Guys, being Asian, this is really embarrassing. But
it's okay, we're breaking stereotypes, guys.
Yeah, that's what we're here to do.
Yeah.
I have been in Tauranga since year 7, so I was 12. I'm 20 now, so I've only been there for 8-ish. I've only been in New Zealand for 8-ish years, I think. But then I was in Auckland when I was little for about 2 years. So combined total 10 years, but then the recent times, especially of being in Tauranga, probably 8 or 5 years. 6 years?
Guys.
Guys! What is... We're still in holiday mode, that's what it is. So, yeah.
I'm literally the treasurer.
You take commerce. What do you think... What was it like living in small towns, and especially comparing it now to living in Wellington? How would you describe the experience?
Personally, and like my family found it quite isolating.
Yeah.
Because when we first moved, we didn't know anyone. Like we only knew my uncle's family, so we were just with my uncle's family all the time. But like, we didn't have any close family friends and stuff like that, and we also lived in the middle of like nowhere, so it was really hard for us like socially, because like we were always like just in our own little like bubble in the farm, in the walls.
So I assume there's not many Filipinos in Goa?
When I moved there wasn't, but recently when I went home for break, like we like I don't know, like mitosis happened, and like
mitosis,
cell division, and there's like so many Filipinos in Gore now.
Dang, everyone duplicated.
Yeah, when I like went home and my mom hosted like a dinner like she always does, and like I couldn't tell who was who anymore, and who was new, who wasn't. Like there was so many people.
Oh, okay.
So it's good now that like Filipinos are like multiplying in Gore, but back when we were like we just moved, like there was hardly any.
Is there other Asian groups?
There is, but like in Gore we just tend to keep to ourselves.
Oh, okay.
Like there's not a lot of like intermingling because I don't know why, to be honest. I think it's just because it's a small town. Yeah. And like everyone knows everyone's business. Yeah. So you kind of just want to stick to yourself so it doesn't get out. Yeah.
Bro. What about you?
I feel like, I don't know, because I was the same thing. Like when I was in primary, I think there was like 4 or 5 Asian families like in my whole school, and I was for full primary. But like, so like I was like, I clocked them all, but then and like there was like this one Asian family that we were real close with, but I think they were from Singapore.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think I knew like 2 Japanese families, and that was it. But then now like there's so many more people in West Melbourne as well, and like the neighbouring suburb called Rolleston is like insane now. Because like everyone from Auckland moved for some reason.
Oh yeah.
So
Anushka.
What, is Anushka originally from Auckland?
Yeah.
Oh.
Now she's a small town girl as well.
Yeah.
But no, and also like there's like majority of the people there are old. So
yeah, same
like
it's very much a retirement town. I think.
Everyone's just on their farms, but everyone just somehow knows each other. Like my grandparents know so many people, but like I don't. I know like my year group, which was like 10 people. So.
Like if one bad thing happens in Gore, everyone will know it the next morning.
Oh, okay.
It's crazy.
Because in Tauranga, we do have a lot of old people, like majority of the population there, I would say, are old people, because you can just clearly tell by election results. It's always blue.
Oh, well, yeah.
Same.
And just like in general, when you see other people like out in public or cafes and restaurants, it's a lot of old people. Tauranga, I think, is really well known for a town that people come to retire. So there's lots of retirement homes, and I think people that have money once they retire like to come to Tauranga to be by the beach, you know. Still relatively quiet, but then like a good place to just chill after, I don't know, 70 years of life. Would you say you recommend the small town experience compared to Wellington? Or
I mean, living in a small town has like, I don't know, like shaped me to who I am now, I guess. Like, it's character building.
Yeah, I feel like I would be so different if I lived up in the city. Like.
And now I'm like, everyone loves me.
yeah. You're the moment at all times.
Yeah, guys.
So in terms of being in a small town, you said initially there weren't many like Filipino people. What is the social scene kind of like then? How would you see lots of people around when you're out and about and like recognize them and say hi? Run into people?
No, not really, but like I just remember like if my dad saw like another person that was like remotely Asian, remotely Filipino, he'd always know, and he'd always like scream at them from across the street to say hi. And like back then, I thought it was quite embarrassing, but like, cause like, oh my god, Dad, like, why are you screaming at me in the street? But now that I'm older, it's like, cause he just wanted connection. He just wanted other Filipinos to be around.
Cause I feel like you said that concept of feeling isolated, and especially coming from a country that is only your like people and your community to a completely white dominant country. I feel it's a really big adjustment in terms of just how the culture works, and you know, starting everything from food to groceries, and then like expectations of just everything. So
Definitely.
yeah, do you have anything to add?
No. I don't know. It was, well, I feel like my mum was also like that, and like she...
Like a bit lonely?
Yeah, because she still isn't like that good at English. But she always like was closer to like people that weren't white. So like, how do I word this nicely? Like because they always talked too fast for her, and they didn't like try to like, you know,
Accommodate.
Yeah. So she always was like, okay, like let me like talk to people that will actually like take the time to listen to me.
Right. Yeah. I think it's definitely a challenge if you can't speak English well. Like my dad, he doesn't speak any English. So when we were here, when we were in Tauranga, we had to stop going to a Kiwi church because he kept falling asleep because he didn't understand anything, and Mum was sick of him just sleeping in the service. So that's why we went back to the Korean church. And that's also another thing, is if you're religious in a small town, that can get really culty.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like, the church scene can be so culty, and if Rebecca was here, she would definitely agree.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Rebecca is Exhibit A.
Yeah. I think that topic in itself can be another podcast.
It's okay though, because she broke free.
Yeah, exactly.
But wait, you need to have me and Rebecca for a religious...
Yeah, we'll have you back for a whole religious talk.
Yeah,
because I think that in itself can be quite traumatic in some ways, in my experience at least.
It's so deeply rooted. I'm so dealing with my issues.
Exactly, and it's especially because I grew up Christian.
I grew up Roman Catholic.
Yeah, and it's the time period of when you're going to church and being involved in religion, you, like, during from 12-ish to about 18, you're, like, actively going to church. And that's when your thinking, I feel like, changes the most, and having religion there is such a big influencer on your perspective of things. And it's so deeply some things are so deeply rooted in me that even though I know it's not true, I'm just
still,
like
believe it.
Oh my gosh, like if I do this, I'm not gonna be good, like I'm not gonna go to heaven. So it's a bit of a definitely stressful trauma thing.
And like for us too, church was a big way for my family to like have that social connection. Because our church was the Catholic church that we went to in Gore was like a lot of Filipinos came there, and the Filipinos that did come there, they formed like their group. They formed like a group, and like originally we went to the church because we wanted like people to be around, like like other Filipino people to be around. But now that like we're older, like I'm older, and like my family has like loosened up on their religious beliefs a little bit. They don't go to church as often, but the group that they found in church is still like very intact. Like they're still close, like they're still active in the church. But like I just feel like it's not like a big like the main focus in our lives anymore, which is good, because I like wanted my parents to have friends as well, you know.
Any religious experiences?
No.
That's okay. Well, I think it all comes down to like the challenges that you face because you're in small towns. So for me, when I was first in the school that I went to, you could only have one international student per year group. Was it per class? I think it was either per class or per year group. And for the first couple of years that I was in New Zealand, I was an international student and we had to do ESOL and stuff. But I remember I was trying so hard to fit in with everyone that I was actively refusing to go to ESOL, because we had in year 7 and 8, and also like later on, we would go off to different English classes, but in year 7 and 8, those English classes would be streamed, as in they would have like the top reading class and then the lowest reading class. So all of my friends would go off during English to like called reading to their reading classes, and then I would just be shipped off to ESOL. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. Let me go with my friends. And I remember I had such a bad attitude, and I was so mean to the ESOL teacher. And I was just like, oh, I hate here. Like, I don't want to be here. I don't understand why I have to like do this. Let me just go to the other English class. Like, I would learn so much faster if I was there. And yeah, I just remember like the biggest challenge for me was trying to really assimilate myself. Do you? Yeah.
I came to New Zealand fully fluent, guys. Like, I'm not even gonna try to lie, but like, my school in the Philippines was an English-speaking school, so like we were only allowed to speak English. I don't know why, but it worked because when I came here, I was completely fluent.
Yeah.
And then that way, it made my transition into New Zealand life somewhat easier.
Yeah.
But like for me, it was like, how do I put this? For me, like, I knew that I was gonna be a target of bullying, but I refused to let that happen. So I like very much had to put up walls and like take on a persona where like I had to crush you first before you crushed me.
So you
like,
were the bully.
well, yes. As you guys have heard the stories.
Well, yes.
I was quite the B word in primary and high school.
Primary? Oh my god. Little JB just bullying everyone.
Me and my cousin, bless her heart, she's the sweetest girl ever. But me, my cousin, and my other friend Belinda, my Nepali queen, by the way, we were a friend group, and like we had a monetization on all the likes, all the interests of all the kids in our school. So if they had the same interest as us, me, my cousin, and my friend Belinda would circle them and we would make them feel bad for liking the same things that we did. And when they cried, you'd be like, "Oh no, actually, you can like the same things that we like."
Only when they cry.
Almost oblong.
No, but like it just like shows like how far I was prepared to go
to survive.
To basically survive, because Gore is a dog eat dog.
Yeah.
Like town. Like if you do not like show or appear yourself as someone who is strong, you will get stepped on. You know what I mean? Like you have to make yourself appear bigger or like meaner,
like
I guess.
assert yourself, to not absolutely get crushed and demolished. And
I don't know, because I also had like I didn't know English at all when I first moved to New Zealand, but I was also 5.
Yeah.
So like
I feel like when you're 5, like New Zealand kids don't really know how to speak.
I learned it in a year, and then by the end of it, I was better than everyone else. So like,
are you casually saying that you're a genius?
Yeah, I went up 1 year. Year 1.
Yeah, guys, I went to Kumon. It didn't work because apparently I don't know how long I've stayed in New Zealand.
So in terms of challenges as well, did you think it was due to lack of diversity that it was so cutthroat? I mean...
Yeah, for me, it definitely was, because in my year group, I was the only brown person in my year group of like, okay, it was like 30 kids, but still, being the only brown person was like quite isolating, and like it definitely put a lot of fear into me, because like they're gonna use that against me.
Yeah.
But like, that's why I had to put up so many walls and act the way I had.
Yeah.
Because I refused to let that happen. Like, my parents worked too hard for you to like put me down for being in this country.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, I feel I was a bit, like, stupid as a kid. Like, I don't realize that people are being racist to me, like, until I told my mom about it, and she was like,
oh,
like, don't, like, that's not good. I'm like, oh, okay. But, no, because there was also, like, obviously, like, not many, like, it was not diverse at all. And I thought it didn't affect me for a while, but then I started realizing, I started getting more excited that like people were treating me the same, and then I was like, oh, they weren't treating me the same before that.
Yeah.
I lived for that white validation for a bit.
And I think once you feel it, you
feel disgusted.
Yeah, once you recognize it, you're like, oh, why was I seeking for this validation all my life?
Like, what was the point? What was the end goal here?
But then at the time, that's all you wanted, because you just wanted to be seen as the other white person. Like, you don't want them to see you and be like, oh, they're Asian. They're gonna have an accent or not speak English well. They're gonna have like... I think a big thing for me also was like food, bringing lunch to school.
No, I asked my mom to switch the sandwiches.
Yeah, bringing lunch to school. I always had sandwiches. I never had like Korean snacks. It was always just like what everyone else had. And that's what I wanted. Like my mum would say, oh, do you want like kimbap, or do you want like fried rice, or stuff like that? And then I was like, no, I don't want to be different. I don't want to be seen different, that I'm like eating different food. And like the smell also. I really like tuna, like canned tuna, but I remember my friends at the time were like, no, canned tuna you can't eat that. And I was like, oh, okay. And I just I never took it. And still to this day, whenever I'm having tuna, I always like ask the people around me, like, is it okay if I open this can? And then I clocked it the other
tuna.
Like, I clocked it the other day, and I was like, should I be asking that question? Like, is that something that I need to be doing? Or is it something that it's just like engraved in me that I just do it out of habit? And same with plastic cheese. My friends were such haters on plastic cheese that I was just like, okay, I'll never eat this ever again. And then in my head, I hated it, but I don't hate it. It's literally just processed cheese.
It was different for me, because in Gore, no one knew what... Like, I remember one time my auntie made my cousin and I sushi for lunch in primary school, and they didn't know what it was. And like, gave them some to try, and they loved it. And then like whenever we had sushi, they would corner us in the cloakroom where we would hang our bags and like beg us for sushi. Like we could not leave until like we gave them sushi. It was like when cavemen first discovered fire. Like that's what it felt like to us.
Really?
Like they were obsessed. Cause we never had like Gordon have sushi until like 2 years ago. 3 or 2 years ago, yeah.
I feel like sushi's kind of different though because sushi is popular in New Zealand, whereas I don't know the food. I think I was just more
like the pungent Asian.
Yeah, stressed about the smell and what it was gonna like, how everyone else was gonna react to it, really.
Because my experience from that is like it wasn't so much the food, but the smell that it left on my clothes. Because like you know what I'm talking about. Like when your mom is cooking like aromatic foods and it sticks to your clothes, and then when you get on the bus to school or when you're at school, and then they're like, oh, who smells?
Yeah,
funky?
exactly. Like worst nightmare for me was someone being like, oh my gosh, you just smell bad, as in you smell different. But it's in Korea. No, we don't. It's one of the things that when Western people go to Korea, because the idea of like having a work dinner after work is really common, and you go to these like Korean barbecue places, and Korean barbecue, like, because it's a barbecue, like the smell clings to your clothes. And then like we eat a lot of garlic, kimchi and stuff. There's a lot of like fish sauce, all of that people aren't used to from Western cultures, and are apparently when they go to Korea and they get on the subway or like any public transport, they can smell all of that on our clothes, even though we ourselves may not recognize. Like, yes, when you go to a Korean barbecue shop and you come out, you get that smell like on your clothes, that's in your hair, and then you can't, because it's like smoke. But then apparently it's really like pungent for Western people when they first smell it.
I still have an aversion to like cooking smell. Like I avoid it. Like it's so bad, but like I can't help.
Yeah.
And like we might think it's bad, but like recently, like I've noticed a lot of resurgence of like racism towards like our South Asian like friends. Like it's always like the same jokes that have been like so prevalent like for the last couple of years that are still going strong now, and like no one's batting an eye towards casual racism, towards Indian, towards Nepali people, towards like anyone that is Asian and brown.
Yeah, that leads to the next topic that we can talk about. It's like racism and microaggressions that you've experienced. So it could just be subtle things, like you said before, you don't realize it was racist until you clocked it and you told other people, and they were like, that's racism. Or it could be just blatant racism that you've experienced.
Well, when I said I was stupid, like she was slanting her eyes at me, like she pulled her eyes back, and I was like, why are you doing that?
Is it that game that's like
Japanese?
Chinese, Japanese?
I don't know that.
Dirty knees, look at these,
But like the kid that did that was like the teacher's kid, so like I couldn't.
You guys were so wrong for that. Like, what if we went like this? What if we went like French, Italian, look at my knees, whatever? Like,
real.
How would you feel? What if the turntables?
Yeah, so did you experience anything more intense other than just like when you were kids, or microaggressions?
I don't know. I feel like it was all really subtle to me, because
all subtle.
Like I was pretty outgoing as a child, and I like just didn't. Shut up.
I'm kidding.
But I just had like the don't care mentality. Like I also like didn't know. So I feel like kids just like were just like, okay, like whatever. But then they still said like some subtle things, but it didn't really. Yeah.
Because what about you?
Okay, guys, trauma dump. I don't think this is a microaggression. It's more like a macro
aggression.
Because like when I was a kid, I didn't think much of it, but now that I'm like an adult, like it like literally seethes my blood. Like I'm seething. Like it boils my blood.
Yeah.
It's like, when I was in primary school, we had a principal that was like, who liked to get really involved with like my family business, like me, my sister, and my cousin at school. Like, she didn't like it that I hung out with my cousin a lot, even though I just moved from New Zealand and didn't know anyone else from like the country.
Yeah.
And like we were trying to reconnect because I haven't seen my cousin in ages. Like she moved away when she was 1, and then she called our parents and she called my auntie and uncle, not even my parents, and told them that like you need to keep Mikey away from like JB. Like they need this unhealthy relationship. Like they need to be separated. And then she like hired other kids to like keep us away from each other. Like they needed to remind us that like, oh, like you guys are not allowed to be around each other. Like you guys are not allowed to hang out.
Why?
I don't know. And then this other time, because my sister, like, she was like quite an energetic kid when she was young, and like mom would always get mad at her if she came home from school with her hair messy. So I was trying to get her out of trouble by fixing her hair in the playground. I was like tying it up for her again, and then my principal called me into her office saying that I wasn't allowed to touch my own sister's hair at the playground because apparently it was inappropriate to be doing that.
You were just being a good brother.
And then what really takes the cake is, one time, I brought a pack of squiggles to school because no one eats squiggles in my household, and like what were we supposed to do with it? So I brought it to school to like share with my friends because we planned like a whole like shared lunch type of thing in the playground, and then she saw the like squiggles pack in the bin. She took it out and then she asked around whose it was. So obviously like my friend said it was JB's, and then like a week later I get a like call from in the classroom saying to go to the principal's office, and then she was there with like a lady, and then she's like, oh JB, this is the health nurse, like we're worried about your health and your weight. And then I was like, oh, what the heck? And then like she would come bi-weekly to check my weight. I was 10 years old. 10 years old. They would come in, check my weight, and then check my weight every like second week, and then if it didn't improve, like, cause like I wasn't doing anything to change it, cause like I was a kid. I thought it was like I was a normal weight. Like I didn't care. Like I was still playing. I was still being active.
Yeah.
And like it came to a point where like she was getting frustrated that no change was happening. So she called my parents in, and my parents obviously didn't know any better. And she told my parents like, oh, like, because it was true, to get a visa in New Zealand you need to get a medical like examination just to see if you're like fit and healthy. And then she told my parents if like I didn't lose weight or make healthy changes that I was gonna get deported from New Zealand because I wouldn't be able to get my visa. Like imagine saying that to a 12-year-old, a 10 to 12-year-old. Like that's why I have such like bad issues with like a bad view on myself till now, because this principle like rooted it so deeply in me. Like imagine that.
Why was she so obsessed
She
with
was so
you?
she was so obsessed with me. Like I didn't even eat a single squiggle. You did this for what? You did this for what?
What did she get out of it?
She got nothing. She got nothing.
That's actually insane. And the fact that she's the principal?
Yeah. I thought she was just being like caring at the time. But now that I'm older, like it really does piss me off.
Yeah. I mean, as you should be. Like that's literally violating you and
know.
like your entire family as well. Like saying that you.
And I was so embarrassed because everyone knew that when I was called to the office, it was because the health nurse was here.
Yeah.
And like, why would you put a kid on a scale? Like I would not put my own child on a scale and be like, oh, you really need to lose weight.
Yeah. Unless they were having like physical health issues, like
I was not having physical health
yeah,
issues.
and it was like getting concerning. Then like yes, it makes sense to be worried. But if you're out and about just having fun with your friends, like that should not be a concerning factor for the principal. Unless they were like your relative and was genuinely deeply like concerned for you.
Like I was a chonky child and I'm still chonky now, but like, hello.
Tell her to mind her own business.
Like that was so like when the health nurse came, I would always like make up excuses because I did not want to be there. It made me so upset.
Yeah.
And like at the time, I didn't know what to tell my parents because my parents were just trying to do what they needed to do to keep me from being here, like to keep me here. And then like one day it was like I got the that scene replayed in my head and I was like, what the hell was she actually on? So I like googled what the requirements is for like a medical examination for New Zealand. It's not weight. It's like they're checking if you have syphilis or tuberculosis.
Yeah, they do a chest X-ray.
Yeah, it's not like they don't care if
and
you're
a blood
fat.
test.
Like,
that's all they do. They take your weight and height just because they have to.
Yeah, for record.
Yeah, and then they take your blood and then they do a chest X-ray. Especially when you're young, that's all they do.
Because they would like fully scare me. It was like, oh, you might need to get your intestines like shortened so that you don't eat as much. Or like you're gonna get deported. Like we had a friend that got deported because their child was fat.
I feel like New Zealand as a country would be cancelled if they deported someone for being fat. That is not okay.
It was so odd. And then last year she was in Wellington and she gave me a hug. And like,
Oh my god.
you tried to deport me. Don't even give me a hug right now.
Yeah. Do you have any traumatic as traumatic as that? Or anything in general?
I'm literally stunned right now.
That is actually crazy.
My cousin and I still talk about it because to us it was so inappropriate. One, she tried to separate us. Two, she told me off for fixing my sister's hair and also the whole fat thing. Like, none of your business.
Yeah.
Like, she wasn't a prize. Am I allowed to say that? Like, she wasn't exactly the thinnest girl out there.
Yeah, I feel that in itself, not only is it inappropriate, but if that came from racism, that's what makes it like way bigger issue.
I think it actually did. Like, not racism, but it was race related to me because she didn't know how my culture worked and like, you know what I mean? Like, because Filipinos tend to be quite close with their family. That's why I was friends with my cousin, and we still are.
But I feel like being close with your cousins, like, it's not a bad thing. White people, New Zealand people are friends with their cousins. You can't tell them off if they're friends with their cousins.
And also, like, using, like, our number one fear against us, like, immigration, hello?
Yeah.
Like, that's definitely racism.
Yeah.
And she would always tell, she would always tell me that her son's married Filipino woman, and that I really reminded them of I really reminded her of her grandchildren. Like, she would be really creepy and make weird comments about my eyes. She'd be like, you have such beautiful brown eyes. Like, I could just look at them forever.
She sounds insane. On a lighter note, let's go to celebrating cultures. Let's kind of move away from that darkness for a little bit. How do you celebrate your culture in a small town? Because obviously big events and such aren't taking place like it is in Auckland or Wellington. You know, culture's not as appreciated when you're in a small town because predominantly it's not Asian inhabited.
My parents and their church friends have like started like a Gore Filipino community thing, and they organize events.
Yeah.
Like we do Christmas parties. We celebrate major religious religious and cultural events. Like we partner up with the church and we do like this festival called Sinulog, and it's like to celebrate like the Nazareth, I think, and like everyone likes it. Like the white people eat it up. Like we just do like a dance for them, and then we put on like a feast like in the nearby hall. But the Christmas party, like it's really fun. Like we get our dads to do like a drag fashion show. It's so funny. Yeah.
That's really good.
There was like nothing where I like lived, but obviously I'm like from Christchurch, and
Yeah.
so if I went like, I don't know, drove for like an hour, there was like, because I also went to Japanese school, so there was that. So I feel like I still got to celebrate my culture in that way, but like there wasn't anyone nearby me that I celebrated it with. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you guys never like had big events.
Yeah.
But you just celebrated with close friends.
Yeah, and like now in like Christchurch Central, there's like this Japan Fest, but it's all like anime, and I'm like, oh.
What's it like living in Christchurch in general?
Racist.
Yeah. I hear a lot.
Yeah,
I've never
because
been to Christchurch.
I hear a lot as well.
Well, they're just not subtle with it. They're just like
Fully.
yeah. Well, like it was a little bit better for me because I could still speak English.
Yeah.
And so like if they were like saying things, like I would I'll clock them. When like especially if I was like talking Japanese or, like, with my mom or someone, and it was like they would just like call me slurs and whatever. But
it doesn't hurt as much when it's you being called slurs, but if it was my parents...
Yeah, no, I couldn't stand that.
No. You do not call our parents slurs.
Yeah. Or just treat them differently.
Yeah.
Because it's so obvious, the interactions, because I used to work with my mum, right? Except I never experienced anything that she did because I spoke English well and no one had an issue communicating with me when they asked me for something. I understood and they understood me, but my mum has an accent. Sometimes she can't really like fully understand if people are talking really fast or people have a strong accent, stuff like that. But day-to-day life, no one really has an issue with communicating with her, but sometimes they would always when they're ordering something, they would like speak really slowly to my mum, or like sometimes they would yell at her just because they were like, oh, why don't you get it, or get it really frustrated that she wasn't understanding them. But I never experienced that. And when she told me at the end of the day, I was like, oh, those and because you serve the same table sometimes, and I was like, oh, those people were fine to me. But then she's like, no, they would be like kind of repeating everything over and over, and they would on purpose spell things out and speak really slowly, and I was like, dang.
I've had the exact same experience, like because I also work with my mom.
I also work with my mom, guys.
And it was, they always started yelling at her and be like, why don't you get it? And
Yeah.
I'm standing right next to her, and I was like, am I allowed to like yell at them as well?
Yeah. And it's just really upsetting because like my mum and I look the same,
But why are we getting treated?
Exactly. Is it just because I speak English better than her? Why is that such a big difference?
Like, I don't like this mindset that English is default. Like, because this exact behavior from like Westerners will still stick when they're in foreign countries.
Yeah.
Like, they will expect you to speak English to them. And they will get frustrated and they'll patronize you if you don't.
Yeah.
Because so many there's so many tourists in Japan right now, and so many people start yelling at the workers and like, why can't you speak English? I'm like,
This is Japan. Hello.
You speak Japanese. Yeah, it's really upsetting when you think about it in terms of what your parents experienced and how it's different to you, even though physically or everything else you would.
Because imagine if I yelled at your mom.
Yeah.
Like, that's just so disrespectful to me.
Yeah. Talking about about food and cuisine.
Yum.
What was it like trying to source Asian ingredients? Like, did you guys have lots of Asian supermarkets on hand or Asian restaurants easily accessible?
No. We had to drive to Invercargill for the nearest Asian store.
Yeah, there was some in like Christchurch Central, but I know when my mum first moved, there was like absolutely nothing.
So what would you how would you guys just not cook Asian food?
Oh, we still would. We would just make do with what we could find in the grocery store.
Right. Okay. Well, Tauranga has a big Asian supermarket. They're two, but they're rivals. But
Ooh.
Now we have
Now we have one.
and there's like lots of other.
Thanks to my mom, by the way. she brought that lady over here, and she was like, "Oh, you should start an Asian supermarket in Gore." And then she was like, "You know what? I might." And now
Yeah.
we have an Asian supermarket in Gore. Thanks to my mom.
Would you guys say there's a lot of intercultural relationships that happen, as in like not romantic relationships, but because there aren't many Asian people being friends with Kiwi people or other people from a different country?
Yeah. I was religious prefect in my high school, and like, I tend to like whenever I'm like doing rounds in the playground to like, cause like they put us to work during break times. Like we had to go check if the kids were doing alright, and like, I'd always see like the Filipino students would always be hanging out with like the Maori and Pacifica students. Like they got along really swimmingly, and like in return, like the Filipino students would be really involved in our kapahaka like group. Like that was like an intercultural relationship that I like saw firsthand, because obviously like when you're in such a small town, you're gonna look for someone with like a different, like with a similar upbringing to you, even though like you might not share the same cultural roots.
Yeah.
I don't have much more to add. Like, I feel like that's what happened in my school as well. Like, I was involved in the kapahaka, so it was like everyone else that like was from different cultures. Cause like, I feel like subliminally we were all like looking out for each other.
Yeah, we were all looking out for each other, and like we all knew that if we did wrong, our parents would whoop our butt.
I think for me it's slightly different because again, when I came to New Zealand, I spoke some English, but it wasn't as fluent as it sounds now. I definitely had an accent. I didn't know as many words as I did because I was also young. So I, again, did everything in my power to assimilate as much as possible. And so when Tauranga has a relatively good Korean community, like because lots of people immigrate to New Zealand, but specifically to Tauranga, it's a growing community and there's quite a lot of us. And so every year there'll be more Korean people coming to our school, but none of that fazed me. It didn't matter to me that there were Korean people. I hated going to ESOL, as I said. I hated being international, and the second I could be counted as a domestic student, because my mum finally, we got our work visas, I was like, not going to associate with any of the international people ever for the rest of my school career. And I only hung out with New Zealand people. And I never wanted to hang out with Korean people, even in church that I went to. It was a Korean church, but I only had a specific number of people that I would hang out with, and they would all be people that lived in New Zealand for quite a bit of time. So I was never hanging out with the people that freshly came from Korea that were like really connected with Korean culture. And I was always going to a Kiwi church for youth. I would always go to that with my friends. And until year 12 and 13, I didn't have any Asian friends. All of my friends, white.
I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, and that was, I think, me actively trying to not associate myself as someone that's not, like, as someone that's Asian. Because, again, I didn't like the fact that other people saw me as someone different when I thought I had changed myself so much and my thoughts and my culture to, like, seamlessly, like, blend in. But it was in year 13, we were doing English and we had these poems that we read, and it was like a cultural poem, and it was by this Chinese Malaysian person. There was like a couple that we did for study, but it was about Asian experience and feeling like a foreigner and not feeling like you belonged in either your own country nor the country that you lived in. And that was the first time that I clocked it. I was like, yeah, I'm actually not from here, and I should stop pretending like I'm from here, because people aren't gonna, like, when they see me, they're not gonna say, oh, she's white, you know? Obviously not. When they see me, they're gonna be like, this is an Asian kid. So there was like a specific part from the poem that I have, and it says, Shakespeare did not mean diaspora when he spoke of Antony straddling east and west, leg pillars on either side, yet I am Antony, the traitor, the foreigner. And it's talking about you literally not belonging in either place and feeling like a foreigner regardless of where you are. Because I feel like a foreigner when I go to Korea, because if I'm in New Zealand and I'm specifically in Wellington, I'm not speaking much Korean unless it's just to my mum. So my Korean kind of like is set back, and because I don't speak it as much. But then when I go to Korea, I'm like having to speak it all the time, and these people are looking at me like, why are you speaking Korean that way? You look Korean, but why can't you speak Korean like normal Korean people do? And then like the way that I think about certain things and the way that I view things is so different to Korean people that I feel like I don't fit in when I'm there. But then I also am like, do I fit in here as like someone that's not white? So that's what I was really thinking in year 13, and I think being in ALSA in uni really helped me to connect to my identity of being Asian, being fine with that and not having to feel like I need to assimilate and blend in. So I'm really grateful.
Yeah, I'm really grateful because like before coming to Wellington and joining ALSA, I did not have Asian friends. Now all my friends are Asian.
Exactly. It's just so much easier to connect. Like, even though we're all from different Asian backgrounds.
Like, we haven't known each other for so long, but it feels like that we've known each other for like 8 years.
Yeah.
Right?
So, yeah. Do you have anything to add?
I feel like mine was like a little bit, like I definitely in early high school, I tried to like try to like fit in a lot and like completely ignore like my Asian side, because like even in Japanese school, like I said before, like people started talking in English, and then I was like, okay, let's fit in, but then like it was like COVID and I was like stuck with my family and I was like, girl, like hold on, like it just like helped me remember that I'm white and Japanese, like let's not forget that. But then like it went so much that like I don't know, I tried to like, I don't know where I'm going with this actually. Like I would try to like go out of my way to like have some sort of connection with like someone that's like not white, because I was like, I want to feel like some shared experience, like everything around me is like so different. I think that's where I was getting at.
No, because obviously like your experiences like of being like half Asian, like being a Asian is like that comes with a completely different set of struggles, and I don't know, you know?
Because do you like, because I feel like a foreigner even though I am from Korea.
Oh, like because when I was young, I always went to school in Japan.
Yep.
And every time it was like, you don't look Japanese. Like why do you look like that? Why is your hair like that? I'm like what? And also like my grandparents every time it's like your Japanese is getting worse and worse every year. And I'm like I feel like I sound the exact same, but then it's also like part of me is like, well, like yeah, I always am like I feel so different to everyone. Like, starting from looks as well.
Do you have anything to add?
About Asian experiences?
Yes, specifically Asian experiences, because you have experienced so much
guys,
of
like
that.
being Asian, my face card, like, is insane. I'm actually running for president of Asia.
President of Asia.
And Eimi is gonna be my VP.
Do you guys have anything more to discuss or add to this topic? Do you think we've covered everything of growing up in small towns?
Well, yes. We should do a special in Gore.
On the tractor?
We can do it in the shed.
Yeah. Well, to wrap it up, I have some quick rapid fire questions for you guys.
Hey Vogue.
You need
Hey
to...
Vogue, I'm Charlie Exia. This is 73 questions.
We have 12 questions, maybe a little less.
Are we doing a
Just-
house tour?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the house. Do you feel more Asian or more Kiwi living in a small town?
Asian. They won't let you forget it.
Yeah, Asian.
Would you rather live in a big city or stay in a small town?
Big city.
I think I'd still stay in a small town. Okay.
She wants to go back to West Mountain.
You said that as you only go back home like for 3 days for a break.
I like the vibe. I like the vibe, but then I'm like, oh.
Would you rather have access to Asian groceries at all times or a good internet connection at all times?
Good internet.
Connection.
Our flat Wi-Fi is so bad, we can't play Fortnite. We're stuck at 250 ms.
250?
Yeah.
Do you miss Asian street food more or your grandma's cooking more? Or whoever cooks?
Oh,
Like
that's so
authentic
hard.
cooking more?
Because my grandma used to run like a street food stall. So my grandma's food.
I think also my grandma's food, every time I ask for like the same thing.
Yeah, I asked for the same
Yeah.
thing. It's fried glutinous rice.
Wow.
So yummy.
Do you feel more connected to the Asian community or the local Kiwi community?
I'm more connected to the Asian community now. But before, the New Zealand community definitely.
Growing up?
Yeah, growing up.
I agree.
I think the Asian community, I don't really talk to people.
Guys, you heard it here. Amy dislikes white people.
Eimi just doesn't talk to anyone.
I can confirm that actually.
Yeah, she goes home and she only talks to her dog and then comes back.
She has a dog?
She's got Anne.
Yeah.
Or Anne.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
It's like the crusty white dog,
Oh.
but she's a black dog.
Coco.
Do you find it easier to make friends with other Asians or Kiwis in your town?
White people.
I agree. Yeah.
There's still not that many like Asian people, so yeah, white people.
What about now?
Both, I think.
Yeah.
I fear I'm just like a yapper. I can't help it. It does not choose race. My mouth just opens.
You're just a chronic yapper.
Yeah.
Have you ever been asked, but where are you really from?
Oh
Yes.
yeah. Someone tried to insist on me that I was Modi, like in primary school.
What?
He asked me where I was from, and then when I said Philippines, he's like, "No, you're Modi." And it's like, then why did you ask if you already knew what I was in your head?
Why are you telling me what I am?
Like, are you like
There was-
God?
There was this like random like old white lady like when I was on a walk, and then she like started asking me like where I was from, and she was like, "No, you're Japanese, right?" I'm like, "Yes," but like, why do you need to know that? Like,
You have to be
Yeah.
Japanese.
And like
Can't
when
be
you were walking in
anything
the
else.
like, Why should I give it right?
Do you remember when you're walking down Lambton Quay and a man was like, kamusta, and I was like, what? How did you know? How did you clock that?
I get confused between Chinese people all the time. Even like by Chinese people, they don't know what I am.
Oh, Eimi too at the airport once, and the lady got angry at her because she wasn't Chinese.
Yeah, because like there's every time I go back, there's always like one experience where or anywhere where this older Chinese lady comes up and just starts asking me questions in Chinese, and then I'm like, oh sorry, and she gets so pissed off.
I'm sorry, I'm not Chinese.
How dare you? Yeah, literally last week, first day back in Wellington, I was at the grocery store and I was checking out, and the guy behind me, because the checkouts were face to face, and I had my back and then he had his back, and then I was just minding my own business, and he taps on my shoulder really aggressively, and then he started pointing to the foil that he was holding, and then he started speaking to me in Chinese, and I was like, I'm sorry, I don't speak Chinese, and then he was like, oh, and then he turned his back.
Yeah, because she did. And the old lady did the same thing to Eimi. She went like.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm sorry that I can't help you out, but it happens quite often.
I would have if I could.
Yeah, and people from New Zealand also just ask me oh, so are you Chinese? And I'm like, no, I'm Korean. They always go, that was my second guess.
I always get asked that at work.
Yeah.
So I just start making stuff up. I change my race every single time. Is that oblong material?
No, that's fine. Do you feel more pressure to assimilate or to preserve your culture?
Preserve my culture.
Now, yeah, preserve.
The Filipino language is dying, guys. I'm trying my best to relearn.
Do you feel like you stand out more or blend in more in your small town?
Stand out.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, and I like it.
You want all that attention. Would you rather listen to Lorde or BTS?
12-year-old me would have said BTS, and then she would have too. 12-year-old Eimi would have said BTS. Guys, that was her microaggression.
I don't listen to either.
You don't listen to Lorde, and you don't listen to BTS. Now that's a lie. I would listen to Lorde. Sorry, BTS.
I think I listen to Lorde more.
I would listen to old BTS, Bring Back Spring Day.
Isn't BTS broken up?
No, they're just in the military.
I thought they stopped being
7 days a week.
Okay, well, thank you guys so much for coming to the podcast. Is there anything that you want to plug?
Plug ALSA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please join.
Please come to our events.
Please.
Please. Yeah.
4th of March. I don't actually know if this is going to be released. But, yeah.
Let's
do a picnic.
Gives plans out the food for the
Yes.
events,
And she gives you money for it.
Yeah, so JB is events, so he gets to decide what we eat, and Eimi decides if it's too expensive or not.
Yeah.
And I do the podcast. That's what I do. Right. Thank you guys so much for coming, and thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you.
Yay.